Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Ham on Beat. So, I've been avoiding these fun facts for a bit because I really want to avoid spoilers for anything past Stone Ocean. I read a couple of comments from people saying that with these, they tend to go in order of parts. So if there is going to be spoilers, it'll be near the end. And what I'll probably do is, I'll just pause the video or skim through to see if there's stuff that's related to stuff that I am aware of. So I thought I'd test the waters with this theory and check out the more JoJo fun facts. We checked out the JoJo fun facts a while ago. And then if this works out, every week or so, we can check out 3, 4, I don't know how many there are. But I love me some Ham on Beat. I love me JoJo's content. Let's check more JoJo fun facts.
기자분들, ham on the beat!
What an intro.
Last time I went over a list of lesser known bits of trivia when it comes to JoJo. That was a fun video to make, and it did expose a lot of people to things they had never heard about before. So let's do it again. Here's another list of JoJo fun facts you may not know about. During JoJo's original run in Shonen Jump, it actually had a subtitle part of its title. It said, Romantic Horror, A Crimson Tale.
Wow.
This tagline stayed with the series until it was eventually abandoned in Part 6. In a Q&A segment from 1998 during the publication of Part 5, someone actually asked Araki what the meaning of the tagline was. He says it was just something added by the editor and that there was no deep meaning to it. Then he says he feels like it could be removed now. And of course, very soon after this, when Part 6 began, it was gone. So it's likely that they pretty much forgot about the purpose of this tagline until somebody brought it up.
That's so funny. It's like, yeah, we'll throw it in. And then it's like, why is it even there? Oh, I totally forgot about it. I don't even know. That's brilliant.
That isn't the only title change JoJo has undergone, though. Many of the JoJo parts that we know today actually didn't have their recognizable names when they first ran.
Oh.
Phantom Blood wasn't actually called Phantom Blood.
No way.
It was called Jonathan Joestar, His Youth. Same with Part 2, which was called Joseph Joestar, His Proud Lineage.
Oh.
Part 3 was called Jotaro Kujo, Heritage for the Future.
Alright, so they were kind of which kind of makes sense because it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and then it's like, this is the JoJo that it's about. Okay.
A title that was later reused for the JoJo fighting game. Part 4 was simply called Josuke Higashikata, and Part 5 was titled Giorno Giovanna Golden Heritage. These parts weren't actually given their names until the release of the JoJo A Go-Go art book.
Oh, that is so interesting. But, so potentially, if England and Western ones is translated and released on a quicker schedule, potentially they would have different titles to what they are now? Maybe? I don't know. Wow.
Stone Ocean was the first part to release with the same name it had later,
Huh.
although the title was still slightly different, with it being called Jolene Kujo Stone Ocean.
Yeah, so
Steel Ball Run and JoJolion had no changes to their titles whatsoever.
Alright, so up to 6, which is like its own kind of condensed story, isn't it, I suppose, before they revamped it for Steel Ball Run, is the name of the main JoJo from the Joestar. But wow, okay.
However, maybe we'll see one more change in the future, since the title of Part 9, JoJo Lands, is so far listed as tentative, meaning it's still subject to change.
Ah.
Here's one last title-related bit of trivia. The English translation of the series title was actually different before. After Viz Media began releasing the first English translation of Bao in 1990, they planned on bringing JoJo to the West soon after under the title The Strange Adventure of JoJo.
The Strange.
This title is also visible in the notes at the end of the first English Bao issue.
Oh yeah, The Strange Adventure of JoJo. Huh.
However, Bao's English release completely flopped, and plans to translate JoJo were abandoned. Once bits of JoJo started to come to America later, they used the title that we know today, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. In the Phantom Blood manga, there's something not a lot of JoJo fans might know about. After Tarkus and Bruford are first introduced, we get narration going over the 77 Rings Challenge. This was an event that the two knights took part in the past. It's a training method that involves climbing the mountains and defeating 77 opponents along the way. Each opponent carries a ring, and when you defeat them, you add that ring to yourself. So when you reach the end, you have 77 rings totaling over 100 kilograms. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's related to a couple of fun facts actually. If you've played the game Dark Souls, you may be familiar with the Armor of Thorns. According to the Dark Souls Design Works, series director Hidetaka Miyazaki says that the original concept for this armor came from the 77 Rings trial.
Yo!
They worked with the concept of adding thorns to the rings until eventually this idea morphed into the Armor of Thorns as it appears in the game.
That's cool.
I find it really interesting that they drew from such a specific thing in JoJo.
Yeah, that's
But I
boss.
guess it does make sense, since this is before the JoJo anime, which removed any reference to the 77 Rings and caused a lot to not know that it was a thing at all.
That's awesome.
The fact that they used such a specific reference also makes it pretty likely that the character Tarkus in Dark Souls is based on the one from JoJo.
Cool.
Here's the other fun fact. The manga says that only 5 men have beaten the 77 Rings challenge. Tarkus and Bruford, of course, but also 3 more characters
others,
named
right.
Winzaleo, Ikumand, and Kynagus. These 3 actually make an appearance in the Phantom Blood PS2 game from 2006.
Oh.
The game features a 77 Rings mode, where all 3 appear as bosses with new designs.
That's so cool. Wow. I mean, it's a really freaking cool concept anyway, the 77 Rings thing. That's awesome.
They can also appear in an alternate final chapter in the game's story. If you complete Chapter 22, the battle with Dio at his castle with an S rank, you unlock an alternate version of Chapter 23. The normal version of this chapter goes as expected, with a fight against Wang Chan and Dio's head. In the alternate chapter, the priest character Father Styx has his body stolen by Dio, who now becomes the final boss. Dio also summons the 3 knights to fight alongside him. At the end of the battle, Jonathan destroys the body, causing Dio to become a head again. Then the rest happens as normal. The Japanese JoJo volumes used to include a fans submission section. One fan contribution that has become somewhat of an inside joke among JoJo fans is a letter Araki received while he was writing Battle Tendency. It's from a fan of Straizo crying about him dying in the story. The letter reads as follows: "No, Suto-sama is dead. I'll make a Suto-sama dojin and a Suto-sama fan club," I thought to myself, and yet, sniffle, what a cruel fate for such a beautiful man. Ah, you're a meanie, humph.
This is funny listening to him trying to put emotion into
It's
this.
only been 2 weeks since I sent you that postcard saying, "It's finally Straizo's time." Why? It's already over? You're lying, right? I can't believe it. Killing him in the same way you killed JoJo. You're hardly different from Dio. He's coming back to life, right? Right? I'm gonna cry. He was frighteningly apathetic, even though he was from the country, humph. And I loved him so much. Sto-sama, I hate it that you're dead. You're a hippo, sensei. Wah. P.S. In Weekly Shonen Jump 1988 issue number 1-2, the young lady was too close. The letter was featured in Volume 5, and includes an illustration by the fan of herself and Straizo. The letter later became popular on Japanese forums, and resulted in other
God.
memes in the same format. Something that's pretty obscure is an error that exists on the Crunchyroll page for Phantom Blood's 8th episode. The description for the episode refers to Poco's sister as Peggy. However, her name was never actually specified at any point, and the character's actually nameless. Most likely, this name is derived from a misreading of the sound effect Doobie makes when he is hit with the anvil. In the official English release of the manga, this sound effect is also spelled like the name Peggy. There was actually a change in the manga regarding the character Wilson Phillips. Most people remember the iconic scene of Dio getting in the car with him, when the senator acts nice until Dio rips out his teeth. But this was actually not the original version of this scene. In the Weekly Shonen Jump release in 1992, he was actually mean to Dio at first. For an unknown reason, this was changed in the volume release to be what we know today. I can only imagine that this was done to make the Senator a more sympathetic character, so Dio would appear more evil.
Even more evil than he already is.
One thing you may not know is the censorship from throughout the series. In 2008, there was a controversy surrounding the Muslim imagery shown in JoJo. A detail that some people may have missed was in the 2000 OVA. During the scene when Whole Horse tries to shoot Dio, the book Dio was reading has been replaced with the Quran. Shueisha received a complaint from Egyptian Islamic fundamentalists claiming that the scene depicts Muslims as terrorists. After an internal investigation, it was concluded that Studio APPP was unaware of anything the pages actually said, and only added it to the scene to fit in with the Arabic setting. Shueisha halted DVD sales of the OVA, and after reviewing the manga itself, also decided to censor the scene of Kakuin's fight against Dio, which appeared to take place above a mosque. Araki was asked to redraw the pages, which are the ones still used to this day.
Oh, okay.
There's some more censorship in JoJo, this time with the English manga. From 2005 to 2010, Viz Media published the entirety of Stardust Crusaders in paperback form. This was the only main JoJo part to have an official translation until the current English release began in 2015. The old release is home to a fair bit of censorship. The first comes during the Yellow Temperance fight, when Pookie the dog is killed.
Bloody hell.
The English version changes the angle to make it less graphic. The oddest choice, in my opinion, comes from the Death 13 fight. In the original version, Kakuin watches a dog die in his dream, and then the dog appears in real life. However, in the localized version, the dog is replaced with a giant rat. The violence isn't censored at all here. The only difference is that now it's edited to be a giant rat. At some points, it's still very obvious that it's meant to be a dog, especially if you look at the body. In the original, the dog was a boy's pet, but in this version, the same boy just points out that there's a giant rat corpse, meaning this cartoonishly huge rat just actually exists normally. Another bit of censorship comes from the end of the fight, with the English version changing the angle of the spoon to avoid showing the poop. While the physical English release is still on Part 5 so far, English chapters of Part 6 have actually begun releasing weekly through Shonen Jump. This has actually brought us one more bit of censorship. One of the prisoners seen in the background has had her skin tone and facial features altered, as well as the banana in her hand replaced with a sandwich, likely to avoid any comparisons to blackface or racial stereotypes.
Oh, Jesus.
One bit of weird localization relates to the character Steely Dan.
Yeah.
In the old Viz paperback release, he was called Rubber Soul. However, the name Rubber Soul already belongs to a different character from the same part, the user of the stand Yellow Temperance. I can only assume that this came about through some sort of mix-up, since the two characters do look pretty similar.
Yeah, they are very,
If you're
very
wondering what
similar
the
looking in the
actual
face,
Rubber
aren't they?
Soul was called in this version, it doesn't matter since he never actually said his name in the manga itself. He wasn't given a name by Araki until later. The name first appeared in the fighting game Heritage for the Future, and it was later listed as his name in the JoJo A Go-Go art book. Here's something else interesting. The actor that portrays Rohan in the live-action The Spokeshibe Rohan TV drama is Issei Takahashi. He's a well-known actor in Japan and is also a huge fan of JoJo. People who aren't familiar with Japanese movies or TV shows may not recognize him, but there's a good chance you've actually seen him before.
What in?
He makes a minor appearance in the Quentin Tarantino movie Kill Bill Volume 1.
Cool.
He's credited as Crazy 88 No. 4,
Oh.
and appears in a few different scenes. The art book titled JoJo 6251 actually has an interesting meaning behind its name. The number in the title is actually the total page count across all parts of JoJo at the time the book was announced.
That's so cool. How random. Wow. What a really weird... Wow. That's so specific.
This number later reappeared in JoJolion in the name of the liquid drug Lokakaka 6251. One interesting connection comes from Part 6, specifically the photo of Jotaro and his wife found in the amulet. Like a lot of Araki illustrations, this is based on a photo from a fashion shoot. This one comes from Vogue Italia 1998, and the models featured are Christian Duer and Hannah Thorne. The interesting thing here is that Christian Duer was actually the face model of Leon Kennedy's design in Resident Evil 4, creating an odd connection between Part 6 Jotaro and the Resident Evil series. In a further coincidence, the English voice actor for Jotaro, Matthew Mercer, was actually the voice of Leon from 2011 to 2016,
That's
most
awesome.
notably in Resident Evil 6. JoJo has a battle royale game exclusive to Japanese arcades called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Last Survivor. It features gameplay similar to Fortnite, but of course in a JoJo setting. The game has gotten updates over time, adding characters to the game.
Whoa.
In the update that added Okuyasu to the game, the sign outside Okuyasu's house was updated, referencing the scene from Okuyasu's introduction in Part 4 when he erased part of the sign. JoJo actually has some ties to the Japanese hip-hop group Sold Out. The members of the group are big fans of JoJo and cite Araki as one of their creative inspirations. In their song Magenta Magenta, there's even a reference to the Redstone of Asia in the lyrics. The band has collaborated with Araki multiple times and has met him in person for interviews.
Cool.
In 2006, the band's 12th single, titled Catwalk, released. It featured a cover drawn by Araki, depicting the band members as feminine killer queens.
That's class.
Later, one of the members of the band, Shinosuke, was actually credited in the manga itself. In Chapter 40 of Steel Ball Run, there's a small note next to a panel of Gyro thanking Shinosuke for applying the screen tone. If you don't know what screen tone is, it's a technique for applying textures to drawings. It's done by cutting the shape of the shaded area from a dry transfer sheet and applying it to the paper. This is where that repeating dot effect you often see in manga comes from.
Oh, cool.
Apparently Shinosuke was actually the one to apply this screen tone to Gyro on this page. In the following year, 2007, their song Voodoo Kingdom was used as the theme song for the Phantom Blood movie. Later that same year, 2 of their songs were referenced by Araki in Steel Ball Run. The character Wekapipo is named after a song of the same name, and his companion Magenta Magenta is named after the previously mentioned song Magenta Magenta. Due to their connection to JoJo, various fan-made videos for the series often use their songs as background music. For a similar topic, Araki has actually done art for a few more album covers. In 2000 and 2002, Araki drew covers for 2 albums by the Japanese musician Sugirumin.
You can just tell straight away by the art style. So recognizable, like instantly. Crazy.
In 2009, a single titled Breeze Girl by the band Baseball Bear featured an illustration of Yukiko on the cover, reused from the Part 4 manga. According to the band, their music video director showed the panel of Yukiko to their vocalist while they discussed the song's lyrics. The lyric in question reads, "Masterpiece of a girl with black fluttering hair." Since the image fit the song so perfectly, they asked Araki for permission to use the image and he accepted. So it ended up being used on the cover of the song. The music video for the song also features a girl dressed similarly to Yukiko. In 2012, an album called X-Cross was released by the singer Sayuri Ichikawa. The cover was drawn by Araki, featuring the singer posing. Araki himself has also been pictured with her, replicating the pose.
Dude.
For her performance at a New Year's Eve special in 2012, Araki also created an original illustration, which appears in the background during the concert. For his first collaboration with a non-Japanese band, Araki drew the cover of the album Loopified by the Swedish band Dirty Loops in 2014. And finally, in 2015, Araki drew the cover of the album Main Themes by the Japanese composer Akira Senju, with the composer on the cover doing a pose similar to Giorno.
Yeah, that's very similar to
One
Giorno,
bit of
isn't it?
obscure JoJo media is the Steel Ball Run Vomit. This was a series of videos released for Steel Ball Run, adapting parts of the first 7 chapters of the manga in audio drama form accompanied by images of manga panels. The 4 episodes released weekly throughout December of 2007. These were the first voiced appearances of the Steel Ball Run characters, with none of the voice actors used here coming back to reprise their roles in later media. The end of each of the 4 episodes has a short segment where one of the voice actors speaks freely. The VOMIC format is used to promote new releases, so only 4 episodes exist, adapting from the beginning of the manga up until partway through the first stage of the race. All 4 episodes have been uploaded to YouTube, but they lack any English subtitles. Some VOMICs are still being made to this day for other Jump series, on the official Jump Comics YouTube channel. Another obscure
so it is like an official thing, right? Okay.
Steel Ball Run tie-in was the official website, which featured a variety of flash animations used to promote the manga. Some of these were very cool and have been used in a lot of fan videos over time. Unfortunately, while the site is still up, Flash Player is no longer supported. All of the animations that were on it are still archived on YouTube. These animations actually featured original music from the band Poyama. These songs were later released on an album called Soul Beat Replica in 2011. The website for the album says that the songs were inspired by their involvement in creating background music for the website of a certain manga, obviously referring to JoJo.
JoJo's, yeah.
Each of the songs is not so subtly named after something from Steel Ball Run, such as In a Sandish Way referencing the stand In a Silent Way, and Sugar Fountain referencing Sugar Mountain. The cover art features 2 cowboys and beings that are similar to stands. One is a humanoid stand with rope powers that are similar to Oh Lonesome Me, and the other is a small horse. There's also what appears to be a clock with leaves on it sitting on a tree, which looks similar to the pins used by Oyokomova. I probably should have mentioned these in my video on obscure stands, but unfortunately I completely forgot about them.
Well, I don't recognize any of them, so I'm not going to check that one out.
Maybe someday in the future when more stands are introduced, I'll remake that video and be sure to include these. 3 promotional videos for the album also released on the group's official YouTube channel. The video for the song The World of Mandem shows the rope stand and things that look like steel balls. And the video for Sugar Fountain shows the horse stand. According to Poyama, the cover was drawn by an artist named Ami, who apparently worked on the official color scans of Steel Ball Run. The stand Fun 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 that appears early in JoJolion actually had a different design originally. In the original Ultra Jump release of Chapter
Doesn't seem to be spoiling anything, so I'm just sticking to it right now.
5, the stand actually had arms and legs. Later it appeared with a more non-humanoid form, and the panel from before was updated in the volume release to reflect that. That's all the fun facts I have for now, but if I come across some more, I'll definitely make another video in the future. If there's anything you'd like to see me cover that wasn't gone over in these 2 videos, comment them down below. If you
Cool, awesome, so not very spoilery, just showed me a stand I've never seen. That's cool, so yeah, I can every now and then check out more of these JoJo fun facts. Like I said, if it starts to get into really spoilery territory, then I will just skip or stop. But yeah, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video and want to be able to watch patron-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? If you guys think of this, click like, subscribe. If you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys next time.